What's up, guys? It's me, JellyKnees. And I was right about the pets, kind of, sort of, halfway, mostly. I mean, yeah, but get subscribed. Let's get into it. So, these are the familiars of Ethereal. And so we've got the three that we saw last week revealed. We have this knight, this kind of like Aether knight looking thing. We've got a owl in a bandana, and we've got this little rock monster who's like the cutest little rock monster I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, the owl's cute, but it looks like he was designed to be cute. This guy is just cute because he is. He didn't have to be designed that way. But, so real quick, we'll just kind of take a quick look at them. There's a much bigger version of the owl. We've got the spirit knight and the rock monster. And so the blog post this week went over the familiars and what they do in the game. So the familiars will be used in conjunction to the loadout system, and that when you pick your loadout, you're going to have a handful of familiars to pick from, and each familiar will have 3 aspects about them that will change the game from loadout to loadout. So right now we've been told that there are 8 familiars total in the pre-alpha. There's the potential for more in the future, but right now there's 8 for the pre-alpha, which in theory means that there's going to be 2 for each loadout class, being assault, protect, assault, protect, reinforcement, and demolition. And we have 6 here, so in theory there's 2 more that haven't been shown. So my guess, just looking at these quickly, is that we're going to have the owl be our assault class. We're going to have this be our probably protection class based on the shield. And then we're going to have the little rock monster as our reinforcement loadout class. And then that just leaves the other 3 to fill in, one of them being the demolition class. My guess is it's the little ball thing looking here. But so there's 3 aspects to the familiars. There's a familiar special ability, which is that the familiar itself will have a specific ability that is unique to that familiar. There is the familiar class ability, which is based on the loadout class. So if I have the owl and the mouse here on the same assault loadout, they will both have the same class ability because they're both assaults, but their specific ability to themselves will be different from each other. And then there's going to be a class potion, and that'll have various effects based on which class you pick. So that'll be very interesting. But let's talk about just the special abilities themselves, unique to each familiar. So like I said, you're going to have a unique ability just to the familiar that you've chosen, regardless of what your loadout class is. So let's say that I pick the owl, and the owl is in the assault class. The owl's special ability might be that I can send it out and it'll circle the area and let me know if any enemies are nearby and ping them on the map. And that's unique to just the owl. Then the class ability, because it's the assault class, then I use the class ability and I gain attack speed over a set amount of time. And then once it's done, it's done. So that's the key difference between the familiar ability and the familiar class ability. So my thought about that, the specific abilities to each familiar, I think it's a great idea. It's kind of what I talked about last week of having unique abilities for each class, just on a slightly bigger scale than even I thought about. It'll make it unique, and that at a glance in game, I can see the owl and go, okay, that owl clearly means that he's got the ability to keep a lookout for enemies or wards or whatever it may be, and I need to play with that in mind. If I see the owl circling above, then I know that that's not going to be a time that I can go in without being seen first. So I think that's a great idea. Now for the class ability of each familiar, this is where the post kind of got complicated, and I had to talk to Skifter and Mud both to kind of get some clarification on this. So the class ability will be unique to the loadout. However, it can change on depending if you want to use certain item sets. So for instance, like I said, the class ability is you gain increased attack speed for a duration. Instead of that class ability, I can choose to take a smite instead. And having the smite gives me access to the marks items in the item shop in game. So if I'm playing a jungler that's going the assault loadout, and then instead of using the assault class ability, I want to use smite, that's where I would do that. And so instead of getting the attack speed over a duration, I get smite. And that's the trade-off there, is I can't bring smite and have this class ability at the same time. Which I think makes sense. I think it's just hard to kind of wrap our heads around without being able to see the system directly. But it makes sense that they're limiting, just like League of Legends does, they're limiting the jungle items to people that have spec'd for the jungle, that they're going to have the jungle active ability to smite camps away or things like that. The last thing about the familiars is the familiar class potions. So these class potions will be something that you can mix and match, is my understanding. And that these will be something that's usually it just gives you a kind of a generic potion. I think the wording was common potion in the blog post with added effects based on your class. So for instance, maybe the assault potion is that you regenerate health over time, but also do DOT damage during the duration of the heal. So you would do damage over time throughout the remainder of the heal for the potion itself. Something fairly generic, fairly small, but just helps you sustain a little bit in lane, because that was the main thing that they stated, was that these potions would help you sustain in whatever role you were in. So if you're a jungler, maybe it's a bigger potion that helps you go camp to camp or clear minions faster or something like that. But in addition to that effect, you're going to get some bonuses because of the class. So that's where that damage over time would come in. So you'd get the health and the damage over time because you're the assault class. Whereas in the protection class, you would get the health plus extra armor for 10 seconds or something like that. They mentioned in this post something that we haven't heard before, though, is that the marks and masks are specifically for jungle and support. That we knew. But that you can only take them if you have the jungle spell, class spell, or the support class spell. And so that'll be the interesting thing to see, specifically for supports. Jungles being limited to jungle items only if you have the jungle ability. I'm used to that playing League, and it makes some sense. Support items, sometimes you play other lanes and want to use support items because they help. So hopefully there's balance around that. And I'm curious to see what the support ability will be that you need to have in order to build the masks of the item system. Knowing that there are 8 going to be in the pre-alpha most likely and more to come in the future, I would be very curious to see the release schedule for these familiars and how often we're going to get them. Is it going to be more often than new myths, less often than new myths, once every season, once whatever it's going to be? Would be really interesting to find out and just get more information on how often we can expect those. Granted, we don't even know how often we can expect new myths in Ethereal, so it's going to be very interesting to watch. Something I want to hear from you guys about, though, is what do you think the unique abilities could be for each loadout class and for each of the familiars that we've seen here? Specifically the 3 that we see, but there's clearly some silhouettes you can get and information you can get out of these silhouettes. That this is some kind of ball creature thing, maybe. I don't know. This is the hardest one. But we've clearly got a mouse with a teeny tiny sword, and some kind of crab robot thing. As for this mouse, I'm guessing that this might be the same race. It may not be a mouse. It could be the same race as Nikolai and might be just smaller, but on the ground, which would be very interesting to see more information about Nikolai's species throughout the Ethereal universe. And guys, real quick, the one thing I want to talk about, a little bit, just as kind of a teaser, is these numbers at the bottom of the blog post. We've already figured them out and deciphered them in the Discord, and I'm going to make a whole video going over how we did that and what it means. But I'm curious, I'll leave this here for you guys. If any of you can figure out what the code means here, leave it in the comments below, in addition to your thoughts about the familiars, and I would love to read them, and we'll have the video out on that on Wednesday. But guys, that's going to be it for me. I know it's a hard system to understand, and if you have any questions, please also leave comments down below, because I'm happy to go over it more. If it wasn't clear or anything like that, please just let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions or find out the answers to questions from someone at UG as well. But guys, if you guys want to see more Ethereal content, we've got a playlist right there that will have all the Ethereal content I've made so far, and right below it, we'll have a playlist a video recommended for you by YouTube. And then when you see my little icon, make sure you hit that, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.